Okay, welcome everyone to our Clarity Connect coordinated entry training video for access points, shelters, outreach, drop-in centers, and our designated access points. So in this video, we're going to go over what coordinated entry is in our community and then go to training site to see how the workflow is actually done in Clarity. So a couple of reminders with coordinated entry. HUD does mandate that all COC and ESG funded projects participate in the CE process. And what that is a way of identifying and prioritizing the most vulnerable in our community to give them access to the limited resources in our within our county, and to ensure that we're using them as effectively and efficiently as possible. So in our Tampa Hillsborough COC, only those households that are falling into HUD's definition of Category 1, Category 4 homelessness, only they can have the CE assessments completed with them. Category 1 are those literally homeless clients, those sleeping in a place not meant for human habitation, those that are in shelters, hotel or motels paid for by charitable organizations. If they've been sleeping by a friend or family for less than 7 nights, if they were in an institution and have been there for less than 90 days, and they were previously homeless, these are Category 1, literally homeless. You can definitely complete coordinated entry with them. Those fleeing or attempting to flee DV, Category 4, without any other supports, we can also complete CE with them. For any other household falling into Category 2, Category 3 situation, unfortunately, at this moment, we do not complete the coordinated entry assessments with them. CE is only completed with literally homeless or those fleeing or attempting to flee DV without any other supports. In our community, once a client has been assessed by out shelter, outreach, drop-in center, a designated access point, there's a prioritization process that takes place where we determine as a THHI, as the lead COC HMIS agency, and based upon the community's feedback, we determine a prioritization process. And when a housing opportunity comes up, we push these clients that are identified as being the most vulnerable, we push them to these housing opportunities. One thing we do need to remember is that some of the projects do receive rapid exit funding, which means that they don't have to participate well, not necessarily participate, but they don't have to take clients from off of the by name list. They work with clients directly within their shelters or outreach or motel vouchers projects. We have some contracts as well where a housing provider may be contractually obligated to serve only one specific population. These are the cases where they don't have to inform THHI of their housing opportunities. Other than that, all other rapid rehousing, permanent supportive housing providers, when you do have an opportunity coming up, you do need to communicate that with THHI so that we can send IDs to you. One thing we need to remember, as well as assessors, the users that are going to be working with the clients to get them ready for a housing opportunity, we need to ensure that we're communicating what is presently going on in our community. We need to ensure that the client doesn't have a false belief that as soon as an assessment is completed, they're going to get housing, that being a part of CE is guaranteed housing or immediate housing, which is definitely not true. So please always definitely communicate with your client, let them know the true situation at this moment in time. We do have a housing crisis. We have very, very limited housing opportunities, and our clients are ideally the most vulnerable. So they do come with additional barriers, backgrounds that some landlords, property managers may not be willing to work with, which is why there are additional incentives that may be employed to for that client to be housed. We need to have this open communication, this real conversation with our households so they don't have that idea that they're going to get housing as soon as this is done. We definitely need to ensure that we are communicating this. We need to work with them to help them identify, think about other supports, resources that they should need to be looking at. So communication is key. Please definitely don't tell your clients, your households that they should call THHI to find out where they're at on the list, because it is a fluid document. As more people come on, every day, more people come on the list, and they may be identified or assessed and be a more vulnerable household than the one that was there the day prior. So please ensure that you're communicating the real situations with your clients as you work with them. Remember that you'll need to work with them to obtain documents, their housing documents as well. So trying to get IDs, ensuring that these files, these documents are uploaded into the system is very important as well. Your communication is important, so please don't forget. That being said, let's look at what the workflow would look like in Clarity Connect. So once you guys, assessors, you are the access points for our unsheltered households that are in need of housing services. Please remember that they first need to be enrolled in your project. Once that enrollment takes place, you can definitely fill out the assessments with them, and then you refer them to the queue, record the event, and then as you continue to engage with them, as they continue to require services, you'd be updating the current living situation at least monthly to ensure that the system, that we recognize that they're still in need of services, that they're still eligible, and exit them when they do find a situation, or if they don't require services anymore. With that being said, we're going to jump into the live site to see what that looks like. Please remember that you must have your client enrolled in your project before you can complete anything CE related. You, as the assessors, you will be completing not only the CE assessments, you're going to be providing case management to them. So it's very important that you understand your workflow and that you understand what needs to be done with the client. Okay, so for this test client, we're in the ACTS, we're working for ACTS right now. I recently enrolled J. Cole into our ACTS program. So this is who I'm going to work with. I'm going to pull up. In the history, you'd be able to see if anything happened with a client. They are color coded, so you'd be able to see the different referrals, assessments, events. To the right, you'd be able to see the projects that the clients are enrolled in, if there are any household members, what's going on with the client currently. One thing I do want us as the assessors, the access points, what we definitely should be aware of, what we need to be mindful of, these tabs up in the program dashboard. The notes, files, contact, these are very important with 4CE. In the notes section, we're able to record what's going on with the client if we need to record what documents we're working with them to obtain and stuff like that. If we need to put out a BOLO to find out where the client, to try to find out where the client is at, we can do that in this area as well. In the files section, this is where you'd be uploading the necessary housing documents, IDs, proof of employment, proof of income, proof of disability. Remember, if a client is identified as being chronic, chronic means that the client has a disability and that they are also they have been experiencing homelessness continuously for a year, 12 months or more, or within the past 3 years, they've had 4 or more episodes totaling 12 months or more. If a client, when you were enrolling them, did indicate that this was the situation, you should definitely start working with them to get their proof of disability uploaded, and their verification of homelessness packet, where you show that continuous 12 months of homelessness, or within the past 3 years, those 4 or more episodes totaling 12 months. That chronicity packet is very important for if a client has been identified as needing permanent supportive housing. That chronicity packet is very important in order for them to get into that housing opportunity. PSH providers need to show that the client is chronic. So you working with the client to get that information, to have it uploaded in the system, so when a housing opportunity comes up, it's just a smoother, quicker process, is so very important. So please ensure that once the client has been assessed, that you're working with them to get the necessary documents uploaded into the files. This is also important for the client as well, because they may leave your project, your agency and stuff like that, and show up in another one. Our clients happened, just like any normal person, they may misplace, lose their documents and stuff like that. So having a safe database, a safe space where they can always come back and get these documents is beneficial to them as well. The contact is very important for our unsheltered population as well, because this is where we'd be able to record not only the client's phone number, email address, we'd also be able to record their any emergency contact or anything like that as well. Please, if your client does not have an email address, try your best to set one up for them. Email addresses they're the easiest things to have. A client may lose their phone and stuff like that, but an email address is always there. So please encourage them to, if they don't have one, to create an email address as well. These 3 tabs, the notes, files, contact, very important for coordinated entry. So please ensure that you are using them. All that being said, remember, the client has to be enrolled in our project. So Jermaine Cole, he was enrolled in our emergency bridge shelter. So I'm going to click on the pencil because I want to go to that enrollment. Right now, we can see that the project that we're in is this emergency bridge shelter. There are no service history because we didn't do any services with him as yet, but what we as CE assessors, what we are concerned about is this events and assessments tab. Remember, the client is already enrolled in our projects. What we need to now do is complete the assessments with the client. So we'd click on assessments. And record a current living situation. Now, a current living situation is recorded when the client is enrolled in our project. So we can see that Jermaine was enrolled in our project 11/1. On 11, I didn't complete one on 11/1, but on 11/1, I was supposed to have recorded a current living situation. I did add one today, so I know I don't have to add a new one. But a current living situation must be recorded when the client is enrolled in the project. And anytime you complete an assessment with them, or at least monthly when you engage with them housing related, a current living situation must be recorded. And what that is, what that looks like is that you'll click the start button, you'd add a current living situation and indicate where the client is currently at, the date of the contact and where the client is currently at. So he's still in our shelter, so I would have chosen the emergency shelter and then save and close. But I already have a current living situation recorded, so I'm not going to do another one. I just went back and I clicked on assessments again. Once you complete an assessment, if you scroll down, you would see that you would see it show up in the assessment history. So please always be mindful of that. When you do go into the assessments tab, scroll down to make sure that you're not duplicating any assessments or that it's being done in a timely fashion. So current living situation was recorded. So the next step is to complete the actual assessments to determine the vulnerability of the client. Now, step one in our Clarity workflow is either a DV crisis assessment or a problem-solving assessment, either or. A client cannot be a DV and a non-DV household. They're either fleeing or attempting to flee DV, or they're literally homeless. Jermaine Cole, he wasn't a DV household, he was a non-DV household, so I'm going to complete the problem-solving assessment with J. Cole. So I'm going to start. The assessment date pre-populates for the current date. The assessment level already comes pre-populated as well, so you don't have to be concerned about identifying which type of assessment you're completing with the client. Assessment level, however, does have to be chosen. Was it over the phone, virtually, or in person? You'd record their current living situation. He's in an emergency shelter right now. It is a safe situation, but this is not a permanent situation. So we always need to be mindful of that. Remember, in our problem solving, we really want to figure out if there are any other supports, resources that the client could need to be looking at. If they are, the system would ask follow-up questions depending on what is chosen. So please be mindful of that. If J. Cole had said he had other friends or families, other supports, if he said yes, then we would ask if there are other ways that we could help, probably looking at food pantries, referrals that we could make in that area, probably referring them to employment, or a job connection or something like that. So please be mindful of what you do record, but remember to go through all of these questions with the client and record their answers. Once that is done, you will save the assessment, and you'd go click on Assessments tab again to go back to the list of assessments that must be completed. If we scroll down, we see an assessment history. The current living situation was completed. We just completed a problem solving as well. Remember, it was either a DV crisis assessment or the problem solving assessment, either or, never both. For step two, we definitely have to be mindful of the makeup of the household. So if we are engaging with a household with minors, and remember, these assessments are only completed with the head of household. So in the head of household profile, these assessments would be completed. If it's a household with minors, we would complete the family via SPDAT. Singles, these are those households that are where the adult is 25 and older. And unaccompanied youth, this is where the head of household is 24 and younger. Now, in some rare instances, you may have to complete 2 of these VI series, and that's only if you are engaging with a parenting youth, meaning that there are minors in the family, but the head of household also is 24 years or younger. In that instance, you would complete the family as well as the T. J. Cole is older than 25, is 25, so we will complete the single VI SPDAT with them. Please play around in the training side. Please ensure that you are aware, you're comfortable with the questions. Remember, these questions are personal. They go, and they do take time. So please communicate that to your client so that they are aware of what is going to happen. You should also be knowledgeable in the questions that that are in each assessment. So please go ahead and go through in the training side, go through all of these questions, be comfortable with them, know what they're asking. Because remember, you're going to be asking these questions word for word and documenting the client's responses. So please take a moment or two and go through each assessment so you can be knowledgeable on the questions. Since J. Cole was 25 years or older, we completed the single assessment because there are also no minors in the household. Assessment date and assessment level came in pre-populated, so we don't have to worry about filling those in. The assessment level is X because that's where the client is at right now. We're doing this in person as well. And just to be, for you to be aware, this VI SPDAT is a little bit different than the ones that we did have in Service Point. There are a couple other questions at the beginning and at the end, but they don't have any value or weight to them. They're not given scores. So it doesn't matter what you put in here or at the questions at the end. They are not going to affect the client's score, what is calculated at the end. Remember, you're going to go through these questions with the client, documenting their answers. So I'm not going to go through this and go through each question. So that's why I said you definitely should take the time while we're in the training side to be aware of the questions. So when you do get to the live side, you're not fumbling, or when you're doing this assessment with the client, that you are questioning the question as well. You should be knowledgeable. You should know how these questions should be asked. Remember, word for word, and we're documenting the client's answers. The system does let you know if you miss anything. So once you complete everything and you save, you'll be able to get a score. Remember, we never tell the client the score. We may tell them the type of intervention that they scored for. 4 to 7, rapid rehousing. 8 and above is permanent supportive housing. 0 to 3s, because of the limited resources we have, we don't refer those that score between 0 to 3s unless they are a DV household. So let me just scroll back up a little bit. So these are the questions that I mentioned a couple minutes ago. The additional questions that are in Clarity, these don't have any value to them. It's just about getting more information about the client's situation for us to better assist them. These VI series also asks you to record contact location, just in case the client does leave your project and a housing opportunity comes up and stuff like that. The housing manager will have a way of finding the client. Once you complete and save that assessment, either of the VI series, be it the single, the unaccompanied youth, or the family, once you complete and you save that assessment, you're taken to this program eligibility determination screen. On this screen, your only job as the assessor is to refer the client directly to the by name list. So I toggled on, changed it to blue, toggled on the by name list, and you're going to refer directly to the community queue. If you don't do this, the client, yes, they will have completed their assessments and everything like that, but the system will not be aware that this client is should be reported to the by name list. Remember, we need everyone, once the assessments have been completed, to go to this by name list. We'll take you to the referral page, and you're going to send this referral. We're referring this to the by name. This referral specifically is for the by name list. We're referring J. Kroll, who scored an 8, to the community queue, and that was done. Now you can see that it took us to the referral page. One thing we need to be mindful of, once you send that or you make that referral directly to the community queue, we need to go back to the enrollment and record whatever assessments we just completed. So we click on the pencil by the active enrollment. Let's click on the assessment tab just so you can see what was done. In assessment history, we can see we completed the problem solving with the clients, and we completed a VI SPDAT as well. You can see that the client scored an 8 as well on the assessment. That's all the assessments that need to be completed in this assessments tab. That's it for it in BitFoc in Clarity. As we continue to engage with the client monthly, or if we have to complete another problem solving with the client, because remember, problem solving never ends. Being assessed, being enrolled in the CE process does not guarantee housing. It definitely does not guarantee immediate housing. So it's very important that you are always communicating that with the client, letting them know the situation, and updating when necessary, at least monthly, the current living situation, to let the system know, to let everyone know that the client is still in need, that they're still eligible, that they're still waiting for some housing opportunity to come up. But that's done, all that is done in the assessments tab. Once we did the step 1, step 2, we do not complete any other of these assessments unless they need to. Remember, problem solving could be done whenever you want to have a whenever you want to, or if they start talking about a friend or family and stuff like that, and you have to help mediate or anything like that, you can definitely record a problem solving. The VI SPDAT series should only be completed every 6 months, or if there was a significant life change within the makeup of the household. Was there a birth, a death, hospitalization, incarceration since they've since they last completed that original SPDAT or VI series? Should only be done every 6 months, or if there was a significant life change. Please, as the client or household traverses the community, we should not be seeing a VI SPDAT completed every time they're enrolled with a different project, or if they do happen to be enrolled with different projects. Please be mindful of that. Once the assessments have been completed, the only thing we need to go into the events field to do is make a record of the fact that we just completed a problem solving. Remember, it was either a problem solving or a crisis needs. We did the problem solving, so I'm going to click on that. And unfortunately, he wasn't rehoused in a safe alternative. He's still in need of housing right now. So I'm going to just save that and have that event recorded in his history. That's all that we have to record here in events. We don't touch anything else. It's either or. It's either problem solving or crisis needs. Now, depending upon your access, you may see other events populate here, but as assessors, you guys would only be seeing or should only see problem solving and crisis needs. These are the only events that that you will have to make a manual record for. If the household that you were engaging with was a non-DV household, you would have completed the problem solving with them first. If it was a DV household, then you would have completed a crisis needs assessment. If whichever assessment was completed in the assessments tab, you need to make a record of that in the events tab, and that's it. Remember, once the assessments have been completed, at least monthly, you should be going in and updating, recording a current living situation to show where the client is currently at. As assessors, remember you will be working with the client to provide case management as well. So your notes field is important as you continue to communicate and engage with them, recording what was done during an engagement or a contact. Want you to be mindful that these notes and these files that you're seeing under the project is specifically would specifically stay into the project field. As we're working with the clients, please try to ensure that the notes, files, and the contacts stay in the actual major blue screen so that all the entire community will be aware of what's going on. With that, you guys never have to go back into the assessments or events unless current living situation needs to be recorded or a problem solving needs to be completed again. As you work with the client, let's go back out to the main page because I want to show you guys where you'd be able to see what's going on with the client. On your home dashboard, when you click on referrals, there are a couple of things that, based upon your access role, there are a couple of things that you'd be able to see or tabs that you would have access to. One of the first tabs that I want to point out is this community queue tab. That community queue tab is the by name list tab. Remember, we just completed the assessment for Jermaine and we referred him directly to the community queue. Now this is where Jermaine is at. He is now listed. He is now a part of our by name list. So we have all that information there. Now, if this, at this moment in time, we only have 3 clients, households that are on the queue within our, on the entire by name list. As when you go to the live site, you may have the need to search for your client to ensure that they're on the community queue, or search, you can search by their ID, by their name, right in the search bar here, or you can sort as well by client name, date of referral, or referring agency in order to get a more direct view or a more specific view for your client when the community queue becomes a much larger list or population on the live site or on the training site as you guys start to enroll and as you guys start to complete the assessments and refer clients directly to the community queue. This screen will be a much bigger list. So you definitely should play around with searching for clients in the different modes. You can search by the assessments. Remember, we're completing, I don't want to say remember, we're only using the version 3s. You can search by characteristics if you're looking for, if your family was or your household was a UAY, you can search by age and it will give you a list of households that fit that UAY definition, which is Myrtle. I'm assuming she would have been a UAY. So there are different ways of searching for clients in the community queue. In any one of these tabs, you have a way of sorting, filtering, searching for your clients and stuff like that. But I want you guys as assessors, because this is where your clients, once you refer them directly to the community queue, this is where our clients would be at. We would want to make sure that the client, let me take this filter off. You'd want to make sure that the client that we just referred is there. So I would always double check my community queue. And then as we continue to engage with Jermaine monthly and stuff like that, see, I just clicked on his name. We'd be able to, excuse me, if you click on history, you'd be able to see what's going on with Jermaine. Depending upon your view, you're able to, if you do see a pencil, you're able to edit. For some users, you may only have that view available. As I said, it all depends upon your access roles. Case managers and stuff like that, case managers will be able to edit and stuff. You as assessors and navigators in the CE process will only be able to refer clients directly to the community queue. Remember, at least monthly, we want to make sure that in the project enrollment, we're going to the assessments and we're updating the that current living situation. On the home page, when we click on referrals, the other tabs, as I said, we just looked at the community queue tab where it's a list of all the clients that are on the by name list. One thing I want us to be mindful of is the other tabs that we are seeing here. Now this pending tab, because we're in ACTS, this pending tab allows us to see, just to see, and depending upon your access, you may be able to edit, but as assessors, we're just able to see which households have been referred directly to projects within our agency. So this is specifically only for ACTS. Either projects that referred their households directly to ACTS's rapid rehousing, or if ACTS directly referred someone to their project. But any pending referral, anything that was sent, any referrals that were made to a rapid rehousing project would be in the pending tab. Remember, the community tab is our tab, your tab. As navigators, this is where we will be at. But if you want to see if your client has also been referred to a rapid rehousing project, you can search here as well. Remember, you can search by name, search by characteristics, if you know the ID as well. Now, all these tabs are the same with the sorting and the lists that you see. Remember, pending is for those that have been referred to a rapid rehousing project, and they're still in the, we don't know if they're going to be eligible. We're still determining if they're a good fit for a rapid rehousing or PSH project. The completed tab is those referrals that were sent that resulted in a program enrollment. So George Weasley, his ID was sent and he was enrolled in our Challenge Rapid Rehousing project. So his that referral was complete. The denied will be basically the same thing. Any referral that was sent and was denied, it would show up on this, show up in this screen. And any referrals that were sent as well, any referral that were sent to our by us would show up in the sent screen. So just be mindful of these tabs, but us as assessors, our tab that we definitely need to be mindful of is this community queue, because we need to ensure that once we complete those assessments, that our client is on the community queue. And then at least monthly, we are updating that current living situation to show that they're still in need. With that being said, I want to make sure that you guys jump back in. Your next step as assessors, as designated access points, as shelter providers, outreach providers, drop-in centers that work with clients to obtain their documents, you guys should have already been given access to the training site, and you should have already enrolled a client into one of your projects. Your next step is to now complete the CE process with your test client, the one that you had previously enrolled. If you didn't do an enrollment yet, please go ahead and enroll a client and complete the CE process with the client. Once that is done and you refer the client to the community, the system does alert us, and I will get an email to know that there is a new person on the by name list. So I'll definitely be going through your test clients, your assessment, to see if everything was done correctly. And I'll be communicating with you if necessary. Please remember, let me jump back into the live site just for a quick moment so you guys are aware. This mailbox, and I do know you guys saw the units and everything like that, that Sergio, those videos that Sergio did. Remember this envelope icon is where you can send messages to us directly to THHI, or directly to another case manager in another agency, to a case manager in your agency. So you don't have to send emails. You can just send it directly within the Clarity training site as well. So please be mindful of that. With that, I thank you all for taking the time to go through this video, this training exercise. Please take a couple moments to continue playing in the training site and getting comfortable with your workflow. Remember, the client has to be enrolled, assessed, referred to the community queue. You'd record a coordinated entry event, either problem solving or DV crisis, and then you'd be completing those monthly check-ins with the client to ensure that they're still eligible, still in need of services. With that, I thank you again. My name, as if you guys didn't know, is Taryn. So you could always send me a message directly, Taryn Decoto, if ever there are any questions, comments, concerns regarding CE. Thank you all, and have a good one.